The year is 4,000 years after 2,000 years before the birth of Christ. Christian podcasters are being persecuted for broadcasting their beliefs under the rule of Cyber Emperor Bill Maher VI. They are being put in suspended animation in a time prison deep beneath the continent of Antarctica.
How are we ever going to get out of this time prison deep beneath the continent of Antarctica?
I know, using this universal time remote, which is powered by a space crystal known as TiVo, we'll warp 3 days ago, and I'll give you the TiVo then, so you can warp forward, and then this will never happen.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
72 hours after 6 days ago.
Just walking along on my way to church, enjoying being a Christian who is completely free to practice my beliefs with absolutely no pushback from liberal hegemony.
Julian, I'm here from the future. You're not safe. You must listen to me.
Whoa. And just who are you?
I don't have time to fully explain, but basically, in the next 3 days, you're going to meet me and this guy named Ash, and you're going to start the world's first Christian podcast, and you will be severely persecuted for this by the Cyber Emperor, Bill Maher VI.
Wait a second. What's a podcast?
It's sort of like radio, but it's pre-recorded. You do a show called Boys Bible Study. You release episodes for free almost every Sunday, and then twice per month you put out exclusive bonus episodes on patreon.com/boysbiblestudy. Anyone who subscribes for $5 per month gets access to these episodes and the entire back catalog.
Wow. Cool. Are we rich?
We make like $400. Not bad.
Not bad at all. So I just press this button on the time remote?
Wait, not that one. No!
The year is 4,000 million years ago, in a geological eon known as the Archean eon. Various single-celled organisms known as eukaryotes are just sort of hanging out, waiting to evolve and accomplish great things in various media fields in the future.
I gotta say, Scott, having a nucleus enclosed in a nuclear envelope is pretty tight.
It is, but I can't wait until we get mouths so we can start a Christian podcast.
Welcome back to Boys Bible Study, the first podcast to popularize a monotheistic religion known as Christianity that's currently sweeping the world. We're the first to ever do it. Thanks for all your support in making this happen. As always, I'm your co-host, Ash. I am here with my co-hosts,
Scott
and Julian.
And today we are presenting a sort of one-off, at least in the sense that we're aware of this filmmaker's work. We found this film on a Christian streaming service called parables.tv. The film is called Eternity Tomorrow. But first, Scott, let's introduce our listeners to our new favorite streaming service, parables.tv.
Woohoo!
Yeah, we love.
Parables TV is a free streaming service that has all types of family-friendly, wholesome content. And it says there's ads if you sign up for free, but I didn't see any. So good trick.
They're still waiting on
TV.
the ad buys.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, either that or they haven't figured out how to get past like whitelisting ad block technology because I was pleasantly surprised. This is the first time that all three of us watched together and we had absolutely no ad breaks. What did you see, Julian?
The poster for Volume is so funny.
Yeah, okay.
Just screaming in her ear.
Yeah. So if you just open the Parables
What's the moon
TV
one? Oh man, there's so much good stuff in here.
If you just open the parables.tv homepage, I mean, it's like a whole new world was basically open for us. I mean, obviously you the listener might see different stuff, but like Julian and I are currently looking at a film called Volume, which the cover is just a young man just screaming into a woman's ear. So I really think hell, we got another 5 years of this podcast now that we've discovered this brand new source. So pretty incredible stuff.
And they have some obscure stuff, which is pretty cool. They have like all of the Barbara Sundstrom movies, which I had been kind of obsessing over. and trying to like get the DVDs for all of them, which are not that easy to come by.
Right.
And it'll be like $25 for like a 15-minute short on a DVD, which by the way is totally worth it. But don't have to. It's on parables.tv.
Yeah. We're definitely not opposed to supporting indie artists by buying expensive DVDs off of Amazon. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, if you just have it all in one place, like, come on. And we love Barbara. I really do hope one day we'll get to talk to our girl Barbara Sundstrom. But today, Eternity Tomorrow, the Christian sci-fi film we watched, the production company, as far as we can tell, is called A to Z Christian Productions, which appears to be the brainchild of one, oh God, what the hell's his name?
Amir Shahada.
The man who, I mean, basically did like every major production thing on this. He had a crew, but what was he, like director, editor, VFX, all that kind of thing.
Wrote it.
Oh, shit.
Writer, producer.
Right.
Oh man.
What's up, Julian?
I found the website for the production company.
For A to Z. Is that the one we were just looking at, or
a little different?
Oh, okay. What have you got on there?
Posted in the looks like he's got a couple other films. He's working on some stuff. He's in progress. He's got a 3D animated series in development, which will be made entirely with open source software. I don't know why you would broadcast that last part too.
I'm glad he did though. That's cool.
A movie called Your Song, and then a movie called The Mediator looks really cool.
Whoa! Alert!
Oh man.
We should have watched this one.
Yeah, maybe we should just end this one early and go watch The Mediator.
The Mediator appears to be Christian Bicentennial Man.
Yeah, we're going to have to rewind the pod to right at the beginning of the movie that we watched and put on a different movie.
So this is, he's also got a lot of blog posts on his site, which were a little endearing, mostly embarrassing, like the one where it was for Eternity Tomorrow, his 8th blog post for Eternity Tomorrow entitled "Production Resumes," I think, which is always a good sign when you have to announce that your production has resumed after some time off. But he learned his lesson about call sheets and making sure that everybody goes to the right location.
Which he said in the post that he didn't learn that until episode 3. Oh, we should mention that this movie that we watched was actually a cut together miniseries, given new life in the form of a feature length.
Right.
Even though it's only referred to as a miniseries everywhere it's posted, even though it's just one video.
Except for at parables.tv.
Right. And I feel like that is a first sign for us as film critics that this is a production that had to make many compromises along the way in order to get to the form it currently is, which, again, is to be expected, especially when you're working low budget. But yeah, I agree with you, Julian. It's like, sometimes with a movie, less behind the scenes is really more. Like, I get that, you're excited to chronicle your film online, but it's like, if you have many blog posts about how like there's a blog post that Julian mentioned, which is like major setback today. Like 2 of the actors like dropped out. Like one of them is moving and the other one like had too much work and like can't do it anymore. And it's like, I get that it's frustrating, but like that, it really takes away from the mystique,
Act like you've been there before.
Yes, exactly.
People don't watch the movies to know the 2 original actors dropped out.
Right. I mean, he goes as far as like, if you go on the website, which by the way is www.etomorrow.ca, you can actually go as far as to download the entire script, including the scripts for the episodes 4 through 6. Basically, today we watched what we believe to be episodes 1 through 3 that were combined into like basically feature-length film. You and your friends can fucking sit around and have a line reading of Eternity Tomorrow.
You can make your own.
Yes.
Series finale to Eternity Tomorrow. It's
yes.
Entirely open source. Look, it's called Turning Point. Also, this show was originally called Turning Point.
Right.
Turning Point Canada.
Yeah. Starring Jordan Peterson. And who else is Canadian? Ted Cruz.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he was born in Canada.
Oh, damn, what the fuck? He can't even be a citizen.
Are you kidding me?
You didn't know that?
Unbelievable. No.
I know. It just keeps getting worse and worse with this guy.
He should be arrested for that alone.
Assassinated JFK.
Yeah. So again, we're working here with the passion project of director Amir Shahada. Very intrigued by the tone of this movie. Maybe we could explore his work in the future, such as 2017's The Mediator. But today, this is a 2015 production.
Maybe he'll be on the podcast in the future.
Honest, Amir, if you're out there, absolutely would love to talk to you. Very curious to know, because not all of the lore did we even really get to see unfold in this. I will say for our listeners, not everything completely tied up at the end. There's still a lot of questions we have about the Eternity Tomorrow universe.
I got to know what happened to Sam too. I want to know what happened to Sam.
Yeah, right? I mean, we really got left with a cliffhanger at the end. But what would we compare this to? Like, what was the tone of this like? I thought it was very distinctive.
I'd say it was closest to Remember, based on the fact that that's also a low budget Canadian sci-fi thriller.
Yeah, Remember is a 2012 film, if I'm not mistaken, that we covered on this podcast last year by the Lamamans.
That was last year?
Well, it's 2021 now, so.
Holy shit.
A lot of stuff we did in 2020, so it's all.
A few months ago.
Yeah, a few months ago. But, yeah, it's, I don't know, DIY sci-fi is just like so hit or miss. Like I loved moments of this movie, but it's just like there's just so much potential for it to just be like a fucking bore,
Potential that
for sure
it was realized through much of it.
And one of you pointed out pretty early on too that if the female leads in this movie weren't as solid as they were, it would pretty much be unwatchable.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the very charismatic female leading cast absolutely carried the energy of this film. A lot of the men were pretty forgettable, except for the ones that were intentionally talking in cartoon voices, basically as character choices. The guy who was "What the hell are you doing here?"
Okay, I'm done.
Put it all on the flash drive.
But yeah, and also just the problem for me with DIY sci-fi, which is okay, again, on one hand, I commend, I suppose, a director who, wants to just do their visual effects stuff and, do it themselves and try to make something. But just from an audience perspective, it's when you're making DIY sci-fi, so much goes into the visual effects, which usually end up missing the uncanny valley mark, because why wouldn't they? Because you're one person trying to VFX a whole movie. But then the rest of the movie is people in dress shirts running through white hospital hallways. It's that's the backdrop of what you're left on,
Yeah, it was very empty of any sort of, I don't know. I mean, the main sci-fi elements were just people hacking into computers.
Yeah.
And not really any description of what they were hacking.
Right.
Or why, or what anything was happening at any point. You kind of had to infer that the bad guys were bad just because the first person you saw was I don't like those guys.
Mm-hmm.
It seems overall its themes were building towards a Mark of the Beast kind of thing, everybody following their new technological devil.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we didn't quite get there by the third episode.
Right.
Yeah, I do think it was the Mark of the Beast thing. I really do think that was their plan, because there was that company Morningstar, which was Morningstar evil? They just kept talking about Morningstar and then shooting into a brain, into can you tell that this took me a long time to create digitally thing? threw that into a building that said Morningstar at the top of the building.
I think all that stuff was like stock footage or like things you can buy for like After Effects and just plug in your own text.
That sounds right.
Yeah, a lot of unanswered questions plot.
But the thing is, with it being called Morningstar, of course, we all just thought of like the veggie alternatives to meats that you can get that company. But that is something in the Bible, the Morningstar. It
has to do with
Satan,
right?
And I think it's along the same lines of with leading to the mark of the beast.
Yeah. This is like Canada's The OA canceled before we got all the answers. Maybe there'll be a movie.
That's good. I just wanted to circle back to something you said, Julian, because I didn't really think of this, but both Jesus and Satan in the Bible are referred to as the morning star. I think in this case they were probably thinking the satanic idea. I guess it would make sense given that this company was supposed to be kind of sinister.
Yeah.
Had to be a satanic code, right, Scott? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely think it's for Lucifer.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, it was just so funny when like the like really hot, like evil but hot secret agent woman, Kylan Jones, if I remember correctly, she like held a gun to this other girl's head and she was like, "What do you know about Morningstar?"
Give me a sec, okay? Writing out Hester and Morningstar is a deadly thing to mull over.
How do you know about Morningstar?
And it's just like all you can imagine is just like fake chicken patties. Like it's just like it was like an elaborate plot for her to like discover the new like fakin' recipe, you know, the new fucking sausage breakfast sausage link recipe.
Yeah, the person with the gun to their head has a flashback to like eating fake chicken nuggets the night before.
The lead character Sam goes into one of her like brain neuron journeys, and it's just like her I don't know, grilling fucking gray soy patties on the 4th of July.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, I love that shit. I love all that shit.
It would be Boxing Day.
Oh,
Not
right.
the 4th
Yeah,
of
they don't do the
July.
4th of July.
No.
What a backward country.
Yeah, can you believe they don't celebrate the 4th of July everywhere?
Yeah, that's insane. Also, a fun fact that Julian told me about Canada, which I'm honestly still reckoning with. Like, I feel honestly a bit distracted right now because of this bone-chilling information that I've learned, is that any Canadian listeners of our show, you guys call your money loonies and toonies?
Think about that for a second.
What the fuck is wrong with you guys? I'm sorry.
Also, another thing, it's just impossible to take somebody seriously when they have that accent. No matter how nefarious what they're doing is. It's just so adorable.
Yeah.
How about when they have that accent when they have a gun to your head, Julian?
That's true. And they're like, "Give me all your toonies."
You know what? Big props for how many guns were pointed at people's heads in this movie.
Yeah, there was a lot of gunplay. This was like the anti-gun kata from Equilibrium, another sci-fi movie, another Canadian sci-fi movie.
The final climactic scene where it was literally like 3 people each holding like 2 guns of their arms pointed opposite directions at like 2 other people in the room was like so fucking sick. A lot of guns. Almost, David A.R. White in that way. We just came off of like a solid month of only looking at David A.R. White films. I find the Pure Flix productions to be a lot more like cinematic than this one was, which again sort of started as a TV show, but still. But both films were like, hey, we can be Christian and also still have like tons of gunplay and like people getting stabbed in the foot and like screaming and like, it was an action film,
Yeah. I like the lead ex-cop character.
Yeah.
I thought she was good. She looked like Darcy Carden to me.
I'm not familiar.
She plays Janet in The Good Place. And she is like a side character in Barry. Mostly a comedic actress, but she's very talented. They look very similar.
Yeah, let's talk about the lead of this film. The character's name is Samantha Stone. The actress who portrayed her is Delia Tatiana. The synopsis lists her as Samantha, in parentheses, Sam Fox, is a cop. They really wanted to hammer in to the first-time listener, like, no, this is a lady, okay? This is going to be a lady cop movie. So
she's an ex-cop, the letter X.
Right. The description says
Right.
Sam is an ex-cop. Note that that's spelled just simply the letter X hyphen cop, who was kidnapped by a mysterious group. Sam wakes up a year later with no recollection of the past year. Soon, she realizes that she has the ability to glimpse future events. Armed with this power, she attempts to help people in need.
Yeah, we never got why she's able to see in the future. She never really comes in handy.
Not really.
Ever. It like tells her where to go in the first episode to save the girl in the library.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, it's just kind of like she just sees stuff that happens, and it like a couple times tells her to like go places to where like it's kind of like, is it really the future if you're like seeing it and then you're like, oh, I need to go to that place? Like, how is that the future?
Right.
That's just like thinking of like, oh, I need to go to Target.
It's like, yeah, what is it called when you're like, oh shit, I ran out of milk, and then you like your mind's eye creates an image of you at Vons, like selecting a 1 gallon of milk. Is that precognition?
That means you're clairvoyant.
Right,
Yeah.
of course.
It reminds me of that like Mike Cernovich thing of like maintaining emotional control in the gorilla mindset, where it's just like, yeah, it's just called like not losing your shit when you get upset with something.
I love when people such as the Gospel According to Mike Cernovich like have to like quantify or commodify just like basic things of like human feeling and thinking rocks. But yeah, there was something that seemed like a little maybe not so extraordinary about ex-cop Sam's psychic abilities, but probably one of the most charming elements of the film, and a visual effect that I honestly thought was quite well done. I let's hand it to Amir. There were a couple, I think, really good visual effects scenes. The first time it was revealed, when she gets like the headache and like grips her head and it goes into her fucking like brain neurons and is like going through all this like matter and space and shit. It was like, whoa, okay, like go off, King, you know?
And the kratom hits. That was me drinking kratom, solving 100 pie cross puzzles in a row.
It's basically like that. Yeah. So like essentially like where this starts. So she's having these psychic, glimpses. And this is framed around some sort of like top secret scientific study. It's like a medical study. There's a company or a school or something called UltraMed.
I forgot about this.
Right.
The whole medical school.
Right, because it was completely
line.
abandoned. But yeah, we meet her, and she essentially, where this starts is she catches a medical student trying to burglarize. She's been wrapped into this plot, this medical student, where she's trying to like burglarize her own professor. The pretense of her agreeing to this crime is she's like, I need to get into med school. And there's like a scene where the burglars are like, if you don't get us this, they're just like, if you get us these files, your application will go to the very top of med school.
You know what never ceases to amaze me? People refusing to admit when they're in way over their head.
Look, I had to deal with these guys. I helped them get some research on artificial implant rejection, and they make sure I get into med school.
And why would they need you for that? Can they get it themselves?
This is my last chance to get into med school. And no one was supposed to get hurt, and then you came along.
Like, you'll, like
doesn't even guarantee that you'll get in. It
Yeah.
just guarantees that your application is on top.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? We'll buy you a $20 subscription to LinkedIn Prime. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and she's like, and this is enough to just like push this woman over the edge into like violent crime.
This is what it's like when college is tuition free.
right. Everybody's
everybody's equal.
Yeah, no, anyone, it's fucking cutthroat, you know, and you have any fucking jack off can just be a doctor up there.
That's why it's free. That's why the healthcare is free.
Yeah. Because it's like,
because you don't know how they got those credentials.
No, that's as we know about the American healthcare system. If it costs you $75,000, like you damn well know that you're getting a good like fucking cast on your leg or whatever. you whoever's extracting that like impacted molar or whatever is going to do a very good job of it. And you know,
the more expensive it is, the better it is. That's just science.
Yes, we pay. Listen, we're like the haute couture, haute couture of healthcare over here. We're like fucking like. This is name brand shit, okay? None of that fucking going to CVS and buying like generic brand shit.
Morona spinal rod.
Right.
It's Balenciaga.
Oh, yeah. You know, if you fucking do an x-ray on me, it says Juicy Couture all up my femur. But yeah, so it's Sam and this blonde woman,
Allison,
yes. Allison Patterson is the name of this medical student. And I want to recognize her performance because she, in my opinion, had some of the best line reads in the entire film. Like halfway through episode 1, she just sounded like she was like weeping every time she spoke.
I just realized she's probably one of the people who moved provinces. Because she disappeared from episode 3.
Oh, you're right.
Right. Yeah, I bet you're right.
And Ethan Rodriguez.
Was villain. He the villain?
He was
Reaver?
Reaver.
Which sounds like one of those, like, you know, that JPEG that goes around every 6 months of, like, the fake American names in the Japanese, like, baseball game. like someone named Reaver is, I thought... pretty cool. That makes sense because there were 2 very prominent actors in episode 1 who
1 and 2, and they just disappeared.
Maybe she got into med school.
Right. She worked really hard at her cat burglary, and now she's getting into med school. But you know, this actually kind of reminds me of when we did our bonus episode about the Christian TV show 7th Street Theater.
Yeah.
Which was directed by one of the Cristianos, because that TV series also had a website where, was it Rich Cristiano who did that? Or was it Dave?
Dave Cristiano.
It was Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the website, Dave has a sentence where he lists, he's like, a difficult thing about working on the show was like trying to wrangle all the actors. Like everyone had other jobs and gigs, so it was like very difficult to get everyone in one, on one page. It was just like, yeah, again, like I get that it's really ambitious to get a group of 6 actors to be like, we're going to make like 30 episodes of a TV show together.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot.
I can't confirm this. And I also can't deny it.
Okay.
But, you know, maybe these actors weren't being paid either. That might be another reason why they don't just show up at your every whim.
Exactly. And like, that's tough. I mean, I certainly, you know, if I had an idea for a TV show, I certainly right now do not have enough money to pay actors to show up every day to make like 6 episodes worth of material. But at the same time, yeah, it's like you can't really go on your blog and say like, I guess you have a right to say it was a challenge, but it's like just even the framing of that on the blog just sort of makes it seem like, you know, why did this bitch have to fucking move? Like I'm trying to make a TV show. I'm totally just like reading in. So, you know, might not be fair, but
you agreed to do this. It's not my fault. It was a bad deal.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You signed your name in blood. So we can make this Christian show.
We got all your info in the cloud now. It's all uploaded to the cloud.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite like lyrical motifs in the whole piece was like them saying like the scene where she's like, yeah, I already uploaded the contents of your whole phone to the cloud.
Do you recognize this?
Give it to me.
You should really lock your phone. I've uploaded all of its content on the cloud.
Yeah.
It reminded
Everything
me.
lives forever in the cloud.
Yeah. What was that one line? She was like, everyone knows like data is never like removed from the internet. It's all there archived on the cloud.
Yeah.
It's just that with the internet, no data is ever lost. I mean, everything is archived somewhere out there on the cloud.
Which was really genius because it reminded me of like, I used to work at the Apple store out of college, and like legitimately like every other question was someone being like, so what is the cloud? Like the idea of the cloud storage like really fascinates people.
Yeah.
You know?
So what is the cloud? What did you tell them?
It's heaven. It's heaven.
Yeah, it's heaven.
Yeah.
Ash, is that what you would tell them?
Yeah,
Is that when you'd be like, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I would, after they said yes, I would go on the MacBook display and I would put on Heaven by DJ Sammy, and I would just listen to it with them, the slow piano version.
So this movie or show, whatever the hell this thing was, it used a lot of like convoluted, vaguely science fiction stuff to kind of create a plot. But when you like watch it as a whole, Ash, you pointed out that the first 2 episodes were essentially the same thing.
Yes.
Where like people just say they need to do something. They need to stop somebody from typing into a computer, and then it ends up at a warehouse where there's like a showdown.
Yeah.
It's really weird because it seems like the bad guys are just like being double crossed by other bad guys who already had the stuff that they needed in the first place and are just like betraying each other just to make it so that there's more than 5 minutes to this whole story. And multiple times where like somebody will be pointing a gun at Sam and just be like, I'm not going to kill you, but you better stop like messing around with us.
One of the best scenes of the whole thing was literally when, ex-cop Sam was like just completely cornered in a stairwell, and one of the main villains just had a gun pointed right to her temple, and he was like,
no witnesses.
Nothing. And he was just like, next time, boom.
But why?
Next time, boom.
And then he just walks away, and it's like what the fuck?
This
like,
is also like the 4th time she's almost foiled their
Yes.
plans.
Why did the director even let that scene be in there like that?
right. Yeah, and
Who knows?
that's a writing thing, and you know, I've never written anything long form like this, but like that is a writing thing that I find really hard to understand, which is like, you know, that like you can create this world, like you don't have to make a scene where like
It's just pure luck
right,
that this person gets to live.
like you can write anything. So although I've got to admit, gentle listeners, that we did not fully get the answer to the question, what is the GOD chip? The symbolism is laid on a little thick here. What do we think?
It's that good old dick.
That's the chip that they implant in your brain, and
That's in the coronavirus vaccine.
if you go get the COVID vaccine, you let's just say you can ride that thing all the way home from the drive-through vaccination site. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, there is a recurring motif in this piece about like implants and mind control technology. It becomes clear that Sam has some kind of chip in her brain, and that's why she's able to like see the future. We also meet in episode 3 villains who are literally wearing like, it's not a permanent implant. It's like an ear. It looks like a Bluetooth headset, and they like attach it to their temple.
Have you ever seen those like wireless headphones from like 10 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
It's like half of one of those.
Yeah. It's like it looks just like that, but again, it's like they're being controlled by it, but they literally are like, it's in their pocket, and they like take it out of their pocket and put it on their head, and all of a sudden they're like,
it's like, yeah, whenever they need to know like what to do in a situation, like who to kill, they like put it on and they're like, oh, I'm supposed to kill these people right now.
Yeah.
But then they'll be like, I'm not in control. It's making me do this.
Yeah, and that was cool because there was that one villain toward the end who was like, he was like, this chip doesn't control me. Like, this makes me free. Like, I will fight so everyone can feel this way, you know?
No, I will not be a slave to this thing.
A slave? This thing freed me. Freed me from a life of mediocrity and defeat. I'm just fighting so everyone can have that.
And Sam was like, no, can't you see it's controlling you? So there is this idea that like people want the chip because they don't want their free will. You know what I mean? They would rather be controlled by Morningstar. I wonder what that could be about.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe it's not vegetarian. Maybe it's made from people.
Morningstar is people.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I would say that honestly, that was one of the more compelling things about the piece for me. The idea that like people really like craved the idea of abandoning their free will, that like making decisions was too painful and too scary for them.
It's just that one guy projecting.
Well, that is kind of another aspect that's similar to the movie Remember, because people were like, had government provided medication that would make them forget stuff.
Right.
So they didn't have to like think for themselves as much because it's too painful.
That's interesting. You know, what just to like maybe psychoanalyze this a little here, like what is this Christian media compulsion with the idea of thinking for yourself? Because
Canadian Christian media compulsion.
True. Because I don't know, you know, I
mean, it's only two people that we found.
I know,
and
but
they're like in the middle of nowhere.
But they're both. I know our sample size,
but
is
it is
small
a
here.
trend. It's clearly trend. It's indicative of something larger, much larger.
I think as like amateur sociologists, 2 movies is a big enough sample size that we can make broad generalizations on like Christianity.
Yeah,
but
very different from American Christian.
right. Okay, I again will say this as someone that you know, I would say is like sympathetic to Christian thoughts, even to the point where I consider myself a Christian in some degree, albeit one who most Christians would consider very heretical. But to me, I have to just like poke a little hole in this here, which is like a big point of Christianity is actually like following someone else's rules. Like, I'm not trying to like be snarky here. It's just like legit, like we picked a set of rules, and like the whole point is to like follow those rules. Like, I don't really understand why like this movie's obsessed with the idea that like the devil's trying to tell you what to do, and like being a Christian is like you're completely in charge of your own free will. You can do whatever you want, you know?
I think it's like overcompensating for that. Like trying to reconcile the idea that like, well, I am following somebody else's orders.
Yeah. That
I guess either way, you're just deciding which set of rules you want to follow.
Right. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, like if this were American, it would like tie into it, because you know, like again, I don't exactly know the political makeup of like, you know, everyday people in Canada. I mean, it's probably similar, but I can't really speak to it the way I can in the United States. But you know, obviously in the United States, like Christianity is often, but not always, paired with like socially conservative thought, which like does seem to have a cultural like fixation on the idea of like free thinking. Like, you know, the liberals are the ones who are going to like ban the books and like tell you to wear masks, and like they're the ones who like, you know, want to have autonomy over your thoughts and your body, where as opposed to, you know, their political party of choice. But I couldn't quite tell if that was what was going on in this piece. It almost seemed like the Christian message in that were not related, except for it had to be, because like it was literally saying like the company that represented the devil was putting chips in people's brains that were like controlling their minds, you know?
Yeah, it kind of seemed just like generic like Ludditism.
Yeah.
Or like just fear of technology.
Yeah.
Taking over.
Yeah, no, that very well could have been it, but it's just it's just hard to not try to want to read into something called the GOD chip.
Yeah,
it's like
sometimes a GOD chip is just a GOD chip. Really, not that much else to it.
Or how one of the villains was named Jamil. Literally, if you just switch 2 of the letters in his name is Gmail. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Oh, speaking
That's
of
a good point.
Speaking of email technology, as depicted in the 2015 film / miniseries Eternity Tomorrow, there is an amazing scene where Sam opens her laptop to an email portal called Easy Email, which was one of the most charming aspects of the whole film, I thought. It looked like a phishing site.
Yeah.
It looked exactly like
the dark web.
Yeah. You're trying to fucking download an AVI of the Pureflix film, Revelation Road 3, The Black Rider. And your Easy Email account has a message waiting for you. And you go there. Oh, another fucking really charming computer screen detail about this film. There was a major plot line that wasn't fully explained where a woman named Juliana was talking to a hacker called Core Dump.
Oh, yeah.
She was having multiple conversations with the user known as Core Dump. Like one was like, meet Core Dump in the warehouse at 5 p.m.
Yeah. There was no Core Dump.
Right. At one point, they're like, Core Dump isn't real. And Juliana's like, I just wanted to belong somewhere.
What do you want?
Look, we know about core dump.
Who are you? There's no such thing as core dump. Those people you're working for, they're trying to use you. Trust me, I know about this.
I know. They've been threatening me, though, so I have to do what they tell me. Idiot for believing them. You know, I just wanted to belong somewhere.
That's like Beto and the Beto O'Rourke.
I don't know.
He was like part of the hacker group.
Really?
In the 90s, yeah.
I don't remember that.
Really?
I missed
He was
Beto.
part of Core Dump?
Yeah.
Beto's Core Dump?
Beto's Core
He's
Dump.
Core Dump. Yeah, he wrote some like short story about like somebody fantasizing about running over a bunch of people.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was like posted under his hacker. It was under the Core Dump pseudonym.
That's so
Oh
cool.
my God.
A lot of people used to think Core Dump was just one person, but you know, it's not possible for somebody to write that many short stories. It's actually a group of people going by Core Dump.
Wow.
Yeah, if you arrange the letters of wait, can you rearrange the letters of Core Dump into something? No, there's no way.
Roast Dump.
This is so stupid, but I'm literally going to plug this into like an anagram generator right now. I just like now I'm like, this movie gonna lay it on like thick enough?
You know what though? Based on how caught up in the sci-fi elements of this movie that the director gets, I would not be surprised if everything did have some meaning like that you just couldn't really figure out unless you watched it 20 times and read the scripts.
Or read every blog episode or every blog post on the website, which we did read some. I will admit we didn't trawl the entire like screed of a website. But no, according to this anagram solver online, the biggest word you can make out of Core Dump is actually 7 letters, which is crumped. There does not appear to be any obvious biblical tie-in to the phrase Core Dump, but I don't know. I just
Jesus crumped.
The second shortest verse in the Bible. Anyways, what are some other like charming, fun? I feel like we're at a point in the description where we can just start like talking about our favorite parts, basically. Any other really really good parts here? There's a hot priest. I liked that.
Yeah, he was cool, and he went through a let's just say a self-exploration period in the 10 years earlier.
Yes, Father Moses is this priest's name.
Let's just say he was getting a lot into European dance music.
Yeah,
and later came to God.
There's a scene in the movie that we get a 10 years earlier title. and it shows Father Moses wearing like, I'm gonna be honest, like looking really good, wearing like a very like tight, like fitted, like short sleeve sort of dress shirt and like neat khakis, and it was like, it's like nighttime in Ibiza, baby. I don't actually know what they wear in Ibiza. I assume he had his bathing suit on during the day, and then it got a little chilly out, and he put that on. But he looked good before he became a priest.
He had like the earring, the necklace, and the like distressed jeans.
Right.
The candy.
And it was hinted that he was involved in organized crime, which was another thing about this movie, is that like every character like was involved in organized crime. Like there's that one guy who Sam saves from being hit by a car because she has a vision, and she just like runs into the street and pushes this guy away from the car, and he like doesn't even thank her. He's like, what the fuck, you fucking bitch.
But yeah.
And then like the next scene, he's like, tell core dump to like blah, blah, blah. Like legit he's like a hacker in the next scene.
Whoa, I just realized all of her flash forward, all of her premonitions were to help the bad guys.
Whoa.
Because remember that guy was going to get hit by the car and she saved him, and then he was able to continue with like the evil plan.
I guess so. But then why didn't they just tell the bad guy that he's gonna, if Morningstar is controlling her to help the bad guys, why didn't they just tell the bad guy, hey, you're gonna get hit by a car tomorrow, like you better like not play
Lord
fucking
works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
It helps that there's only like 30 people in Canada.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think there's 60, and 30 of them were in the 2012 film Remember, and the other 30 were in the 2015 film Eternity Tomorrow.
It's like Yankees or Red Sox.
I just want to say I don't think that 30 people worked on this movie.
Okay, yeah.
Eternity Tomorrow.
Amir did most of it.
Yeah. I'd say it was like 15 to 20.
Yeah. I mean, in the credits... Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, there were some assistant directors, there were some fight choreographers, which, I mean, a bulk of this thing was, fight and gunplay scenes, and like, someone had to choreograph that shit. I don't know how to choreograph that shit. I'm sure it took.
And those someones also acted in the movie,
right?
There were a lot of BlackBerry phones in this movie too. That was weird.
Yeah, BlackBerries were a big motif for a film made in 2015, well into the proliferation of smartphones
and like cars from the early 2000s,
like broken cars from the 2000s. Wasn't there one car that pulled up and one of you was like, there's something wrong with that car? Like,
there's like the camera was like shooting, like being held outside the window and like near the tires as the car was driving up, and you could just clearly hear like something rattling around.
You know what? This is a little off topic, but when that happened in the film, I couldn't help but think of one of our favorite non-Christian but Christian-esque films, Courting Chaos. The movie about the rich girl in the city of Venice, California, who wants to be a street clown on the Venice boardwalk. And there's that scene where they're talking, and in the background, there's straight up just like a man, like obviously not involved in the filming, just screaming like, shut the fuck up, you fucking bitch, just like shouting all this shit. And it gets like all caught on like the mic, and it's like a G-rated movie, and you can just hear this man like saying the most obscene things in the background. It's just incredible.
They were running out of film. They couldn't do another take.
But yeah, it's kind of like,
I cannot believe I watched that movie twice.
I want to watch it again. I can believe it. I would watch it again anytime. I almost want to do that for this pod, even though it like really doesn't
Patreon.
fit. Yeah, maybe a Patreon in the future. But yeah, this is another moment where it's like, you can just hear the sound of this like sort of, broken car. Pretty cool.
It's Canadian winters.
Oh yeah.
Do a number on your Oldsmobile, whatever that was.
Yeah. In Canada, the wheels go backwards.
It's true.
It's a fun fact about that country.
And they're called they call the wheels loonies and toonies.
Yeah. And they have to brake by putting their feet through the bottom of the car and
Right.
Like the Flintstones.
Yeah, they fucking in order to get going, they have to go. I might edit in a fucking Flintstones car sound. But yeah, amazing country.
One thing I really liked in this movie that we're all big fans of is the constant titles of being like present day, 1 year ago today, 10 years ago today, 6 months ago, 2 years ago.
No matter how shittily made and how low budget the movie is that it's always upsets me.
Yes.
Like, why? If it starts 1 year ago, that's just the present.
Right.
That's what it
You
starts.
don't-
Then it's
don't
1 year
start
later. It's not.
Right.
It's so annoying.
That's when it starts. When the movie starts is when it starts.
Yeah. It's also, what difference does it make? 1 year in a movie, it's all the same.
Right.
Unless it's 2020, the year we'll never forget.
Right. Which it was not. This is a 2015 film. They had no idea what was to come.
Yeah.
So all we
imagine
got-
this coming out with the coronavirus vaccine.
Oh, wow. They would have. I'm very curious to see, 2021 could be the year when like Christian media tackles what's been happening, the events of the past year. I'm very curious to see what will be produced. Will
we have
the
a
scene...
Love in Quarantine. It's the closest. It's the first thing.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that. I wonder how that will confront the issues of the day. But I'm curious to see, if there will be any films with a very strong political message, or will they all just be so? I assume so.
It's going to be a lot of like, oh, the government says that we can't have services because of coronavirus,
Right.
and people being like, well, if I'm not afraid to die because I've accepted Jesus in my heart.
Right. Yeah, we could see a lot of stories like that. I'm very intrigued. I'm ready to watch him. Keep him coming. All the auteurs of the world. I want content. Anything else fun or notable, like plot wise, from this film that we should make sure we talk about before we rate Eternity Tomorrow?
Oh, Saved by the Cross.
Oh, that's a good point.
Priest
Yes.
gets shot in the chest at point blank range, and it hits his cross.
Saved by the cross.
He also didn't come
Yeah.
back for the rest of the episode, which I thought was really peculiar.
Yeah, the priest who's like, his faith saved him in a very literal way, because in the earlier film we see him as being a part of organized crime. We then throughout the film see him sort of struggling with the fact that people in his past criminal life keep trying to pull him back in, but no, he's wearing the frock now.
Yeah, I mean, early on, Jamil comes up to him talking about Reaver and says, "What rock have you been living under?" And he says, "It's called Jesus."
Oh, that exchange is one of my favorite, line readings or pieces of dialogue in the whole film, because he was just like, being a priest is a scam.
What rock you been living under?
Jesus Christ.
So the rock has a name? Look, man, you and I both know there's no God. You know it, I know it. This whole priest thing is just a scam.
It's not.
And it was just like, laid on very thick. It was so cool.
What's the scam?
Right.
If you're the priest.
Right.
I get being like, like giving to the church is a scam or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
I could see someone saying that, but just what is like being a priest.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
That sounds like somebody didn't get into preschool.
Well, maybe they should have fucking broken into the parish collection box. If you break into the where they keep the communion wine, I'll put your application at the top for seminary. Yeah, good shit. I guess this was a Catholic film.
Yeah.
Right? Because,
There's some kind of orthodoxy, maybe. I don't know.
A shot at the Orthodox Church.
Right. The credits say that it was definitely shot at an Orthodox church. I just assumed, with the priest and like the frock and like the things like that they never really implied what branch of Christianity it was. I assumed Catholic or maybe Orthodox, but I guess because I wanted to bring this up anyway, a kind of final, maybe broad talking point I had about the film is, I I'm just going to be honest, like the sort of lazy ways that it interpolated Christian themes, because I mean, there was no scripture. The messaging was very literal. It was like, oh, this person is wearing a metal cross so they don't get hit by a bullet.
Yeah, I was just wondering that if it was really gonna. I just like can't really picture it going full force into like somebody saving the world through the power of Christ or something. I think maybe it was just using like these motifs of like, oh yeah, mind controlled, mark of the beast sort of thing, and then like generic like good versus evil sort of things. Because some people's like only concepts of good versus evil comes through like Christian imagery.
Yeah, or maybe even like it was one of those things where like he felt really compelled to make a sci-fi and action movie just because he really wanted to, but like he felt like the only way I can do this is if I do it to glorify God. Like there's no other like purpose. Like I almost feel like the way it was wrapped up so much felt like an afterthought, that it was like, did he feel compelled for some moral reason to like use the medium of film to glorify God? Did he like want to make a Christian film? I mean, I guess I'm assuming so, since he made multiple, and that's like a lot of work.
Yeah.
But like,
not to mention his other movies.
Right.
He's got A to Z Christian Productions.
That's true.
Which came first?
That's a good point. No, you're right. This guy is probably a very passionate Christian, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I would have liked something that was like a little more subtle theologically. You know, I wanted to hear characters kind of talk about maybe contradictions like in the scripture. I thought that like the attempts to do that were a little shallow. Like when the priest is telling Sam, like, no good is done through evil works. Like, don't use violence to go confront Morningstar. And she's like, but I'm going to. And the priest is like, okay. You know, that wasn't exactly a very like, I don't really think like a lesson was learned theologically during that, you know?
Nah.
No. It's just some good old wholesome entertainment, even though it's not, because again, there are constantly times where somebody has a gun pointed to their head or somebody's being shot.
Yeah, that was strange. And like a scene where 3 hackers are like in competition with each other and they each have bombs strapped to their chest.
Yeah.
That end up being fake, but like still the implications were real. Also, if you were like, they have that guy, the guy she saved from getting hit by the car was like walking back and forth between them, like making sure that they were hacking while like pointing a gun at them.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Wouldn't you want to stand a little farther back if there were like 3 people with bombs strapped to their chests?
I didn't even think about that. That's really funny. Yeah, the bombs were ostensibly supposed to go off, and like it was like 3, 2, 1, and like she hacked in, and it was like this guy's just standing right behind him. That first scene where they showed her like, you know, the young woman hacker who sort of ended up becoming like a supporting character. And, you know, she ended up like, at first we thought she was evil. Then we ended up rooting for her. But there's a scene where she's like, it's supposed to sort of convey that she's enjoying the hacking challenge, but she also has like a bomb strapped to her. So she was like gleefully typing on the computer while this just like literal ticking time bomb is like strapped to her heart. Yeah. It was a very strange shot.
Some people get off on danger.
Yeah.
It's the adrenaline rush.
I must not let us forget that within the first 5 minutes of the movie, the lead actress was tased twice. There was 2 separate scenes of people coming up behind her and tasing her on the neck in order to knock her out.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was like to happen literally like the second time it happened was at the 4-minute and 53-second mark. I was just like, all right, there's a lot of tasers happening
here. She tases someone else later in the film. And she also has this like nightstick that she uses to beat up people, and it doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work at all. She'll like hit people with it, like wind up and whack them across the knee or something, and they'll just be like, ah, and then just go right back to fighting.
Yeah, I think they just used it because of the way that she like flings it out when she's going into action, because that's like kind of cool, because it's like a confident move to show that you're ready to fight.
Yeah, that's such a fucking piece of shit cop thing. Just little fucking toys that they think are like make them strong. Fuck the police. I'm not afraid to say it.
This is in the Bible. That's the third. That's the third shortest Bible verse. Jesus wept, Jesus crumped, and fuck the police. What do you say, guys? I'm ready to give this film a rating, unless there's something important we've got to make sure we include.
Oh no, I think
love cops.
We
love our cops, our law enforcement. We love our cops, our law enforcement.
Yeah. Back to Alaska. We love our cops, our law enforcement. We love our military, they're important.
We love our ex-cops.
We love our ex-cops. All of you, the thin blue cross, okay? All of our ex-Christian cops who are currently protecting us from mind control, demonic vegetarian scientists.
Oh, that was a funny reveal. One last thing that she, as an ex-cop, revealed that she killed somebody, and they were like suggesting that was a big deal, that she killed someone as a cop, yes. Which it fucking is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But it's very common in the United States of America.
Right. Was there not? I'm really glad you brought that up. I almost forgot. Was there not an implication in this film that like the one woman was saying to Sam, like Allison, the character, was saying to Sam, like, but you killed someone, like that's murder. And Sam was like, I'm not a murderer. I was a cop.
No, she says, if I was a murderer, you wouldn't be standing right here or something.
Right.
You were a police officer? Did you actually kill somebody?
If I were a killer, you would not be standing there right now.
Like implying that she would just have no control over who, when she struck.
Right. If I killed one person, why wouldn't I just fucking kill you right now? I love the idea that murderers are compelled to just like remove everyone in their path at all times.
No, that's just cops.
Oh, right. No. Yeah, I don't know. There's just a little bit of strange implications there, but all in all, Eternity Tomorrow, I would say pretty wholesome. As wholesome as a very violent movie can be. Christian flick,
it's
Christian sci-fi. Yeah, absolutely.
And the loonies and toonies.
Okay, police. Yeah, you're gonna need to get down here as soon as you can. Okay, no trouble though. Okay,
yeah.
No pressure. Okay, see you soon.
That's how you get a movie from an R down to a PG-13. Just give them Canadian accents.
Well, what would we rate this thing? What's the official Boys Bible Study rating of Eternity Tomorrow?
I'll give it 2 toonies way up.
I'm gonna have to give this movie an 8-pack of Morningstar veggie protein fake hamburgers. But what's so sad is you can only get the rolls in packs of 6. So
gluten-free bun.
Right, on the gluten-free bun. So what are you supposed to do? It's a very difficult situation. But at the same time, I think that this movie deserved all of those. I thought it was a perfect film in every single way.
Can't wait to read the scripts for 4, 5, and 6.
Maybe bonus episode we'll just from the beginning to the end do a complete line reading of the entire Eternity Tomorrow. It'll be a fucking 4-hour long bonus episode. What do you say, Scott?
I'm going to give this beautiful movie 1 out of 1 successful entrance into med school by way of fraud.
You just Photoshop yourself on like the body of a doctor and operating a...
I already have many years of experience. Yeah. Please let me into your medical school. Like I was saying when we were watching the movie, girl, it's not worth it. Just go on YouTube. Learn about herbs. You could probably make more money that way. Be a Christian doctor. Heal people the natural way with like biblical cures. Like you don't need to go to med school for that. Well, I would say this was yet another perfect film. This time, another Canadian Christian sci-fi flick from 2015. We heartily recommend if you have the patience for it, the heart for it. Go to parables.tv, sign up for a free account, watch this film. It actually might be available on YouTube, I do believe. Check out etomorrow.ca, the website where you can like really learn more in depth about the making and process behind this film. There's behind the scenes pictures. it's a pretty incredible resource. We definitely had a lot of fun. On our business side of things, of course, if you enjoy our free episodes, we wholeheartedly invite you to check out patreon.com/boysbiblestudy. That's where we do at least 2 exclusive bonus episodes every month for our paid subscribers. Pledge for $5 and up. And you can hear our whole back catalog of bonus episodes and new ones we'll make for you as the show keeps going on. Also, our generous patrons at the $20 tier are our patron saints, and we like to shout them out every week. So huge shout outs to Russell, Marissa, Nicole, and Jeff. Thank you very much for your patronage. Our outro music is the song Oh My God by pop singer Mary. And from all of us here at Boys Bible Study, myself, Ash, my co-hosts, Scott and Julian, we would like to say, peace be with you.
And with you. It's Canadian.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I feel your love in me, it's coming from within. Oh my God, my devotion is so unwavering. Divine emotions when you enter me. Every day